me now is Jeremy Saland. I said your name right, Jeremy, right?
You did, you
I don't
did.
like to keep anybody waiting when they join our streaming show here. So, Jeremy, busy day, busy legal
Indeed.
day. Let's get right into it. The accused killer of CEO Brian Thompson, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Sometimes I think the victim's name and identity gets lost in all of this because so much focus is on the defendant, the accused, Luigi Mangione, who was in court again today. He will not be facing the death penalty. Can you explain to our viewers why that is?
Absolutely. So he's charged with these stalking crimes and obviously the murder related crime with the firearm. But really, what it boils down to, the judge said, is this a crime of violence from a legal perspective? And when we think a crime of violence, if I punch you in the face, not you, I wouldn't do that. But if I punch someone in the face, or anyone punch someone in the face, say, well, that's a crime of violence. But the crime of violence is statutorily defined, and the Supreme Court has also built that out. This particular charge for the murder requires not just that a weapon was used and that somebody was killed, but this second piece of it involved a crime of violence. And I put that in quotes. And the court said stalking, which is that predicate or basis of this, is not legally by law always a crime of violence. And I say always because what the court did in their analysis was say, I don't want to look at the specific allegations here. This is the right approach. I have to look at the charge itself. And every time a stalking is committed, must it be proven that there was a crime of violence, meaning the use of physical force? And the court correctly said, no, you could commit stalking without violence. You could commit stalking without the physical use of force. We can think of many scenarios where that stalking could occur. So
Yeah.
therefore, when you lack that crime of violence, those charges can't be sustained and
So,
get dismissed.
well, I think we have a picture of when the Altoona police stopped him at the McDonald's up there when he was on the run for some time, and then somebody recognized him and they went in. And it's a very pivotal point in this case because they searched his knapsack, and the judge is going to rule on whether or not that was legal, and also if the manifesto, the prosecutors alleged him detailing how he wanted to kill Brian Thompson or some other healthcare. His grievance with the healthcare industry is apparently outlined in there. What do we know about that? Are we still waiting on the judge to decide whether that can be admitted?
No, the judge also, even though it's not as making as much news, for lack of a better term, and I'm glad you brought that up, the judge also ruled on that. That evidence is admissible. So the ghost gun, that fabricated gun, that firearm, that manifesto or writing, whatever was recovered can now be used in the prosecution's case in chief, meaning they can present that on their direct case to corroborate and move that case forward.
That's
That's
a
a big win
huge
for the
win. Yeah,
prosecution.
huge. I mean, if the alleged murder weapon was tossed out of the case, and what about the video that we've all seen over and over again? Any sense on that? Has the judge ruled on that?
Well, that video is really compelling. There's a lot of evidence that all builds up. It's not looking favorable for Mangione. Obviously everyone deserves due process and proof beyond a reasonable doubt and innocence before guilt. But all this collectively is making it an incredibly difficult case, though he avoids a death penalty. And I will just add one other thing. Realistically, not that anyone wants to be in that position, New York has not, supported the death penalty. We know the state court can't do it because it's not permissible. Generally, people don't support it in New York. Would he have gotten the death penalty if convicted? Probably not, but it's off the table. But between the video, between the backpack, between anything that witnesses saw and statements that were made, it's looking like a very big uphill battle in the end for Mangione still.
Any idea when, since there might be an appeal to the death penalty ruling today, how soon could we see this trial get underway here in New York?
So the court gave a date in September. I do not recall what that date was as a tentative date or a date, but the court also said to the prosecution, I believe it was the end of February, maybe February 27th, end of February, to let the court know, are you appealing this decision, my decision? That prompted the state prosecutors in Manhattan, the district attorney's office, to seek the court there to say, hey, can we have our trial in July? Because if we don't have our trial before the federal trial, we're really going to be out of the box.
Interesting. All right, I got to pivot here. I got a lawyer, and I don't have what is it? What's the rate now? $500, $700 an hour, and we've only got you for a few minutes. A little higher, a little higher. Okay. I don't have the money for you, so I got to just take the free pro bono advice
for you
here.
For free, pro bono.
Thank you. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein, 3 million new documents from the Department of Justice dumped today, including pictures and videos. And they said survivors' names were redacted, so a lot, and even their images were redacted. Although there's a little pushback on that today as well.
Right.
How significant is this? And are people running scared tonight that their names might be in there? We've heard some high-profile names already. And will this be enough to have people say, okay, you've done all you can? Because it seemed like DOJ was trying to put this to rest today.
We'll start backwards because I lose track of many questions and things that come out. But is this enough? The answer likely, if not unequivocally, will be a no. And the Department of Justice is still, I'll use the term hiding. And they're claiming ongoing investigation, other investigations for a couple 100,000 plus, I believe, documents specifically related to that. There was some complaints by survivors and victims who have said there was improper or poor redaction that exposed them. There was a release, as I read reporting somewhere, and I'm sure it's many spots, about allegations against Donald Trump and his wrongdoing. There was, a lot of people named. But these are, remember, some of this is allegations, some of it is evidence. The only people who were convicted in some capacity are somewhat Epstein initially before he killed himself, and then his sidekick for a while, who's serving prison right now.
But, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Thank you. Sometimes I thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, so this is not evidence of guilt, but it's certainly, there's a lot there that people have to go through. But I would expect more is coming. I don't think this is the end of it.
All right. My last question. Has Don Lemon called you?
He has not, but I've been on with him a few times in the past, not in a long time.
All right.
But, yes,
so,
he has not called me. No.
Ex-CNN journalist arrested. Can you tell our viewers why was he arrested?
So he was charged initially in a conspiracy, and the allegations are that these protesters, were violating the rights of these religious folks and the right to be, to prayer and be present in their church. And there was a conspiracy to get in there and have this attack, I think the Department of Justice said, which is a little bit liberal of a term there. And additionally, he's charged with a much lower offense for that similar conduct for disrupting and going into that church. It's interesting. Is he again deserves that same innocence before guilt for sure? But is it an effort to weaponize to shut down that First Amendment right? I will tell the viewers that a magistrate judge and ultimately a district court judge, if I'm recalling correctly, shot down arrest warrants and efforts for arrest warrants for not just Lemon and some other people. I think there's 4 of them charged or indicted now, but additional people. I want to say 8 or 9, but don't hold me to that exact number because it is flimsy. It is not so clear cut. And this is probable cause and ultimately, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but it's an interesting scenario in case, and it seems to be strong armed, even if we can agree that maybe churches, synagogues, mosques are not the right place to have political protest when people are worshiping, but it's also a First Amendment issue.
Yeah, it does seem that the Trump administration is saying, he was part of disrupting their freedom to be able to worship the way that they want to, and they were using the law in that way to arrest him for that. So he does have a lawyer, so you are not going to you can talk freely about the case.
I couldn't tell you if he texted me anyway.
No. Listen, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us this evening on Newsroom Live. We so appreciate it, and we hope you'll come back again real soon.
I will.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you